Al Jazeera Podcasts.
Today, life in Gaza after 2 years of relentless attacks.
These 2 years have been felt like 20 years of their ages, simply because they have been forced to deal with unimaginable challenges.
The view from the ground. What does it take to survive each day under Israel's genocidal assault? I'm Kevin Hirten, and this is The Take. Before we continue with today's episode, I want to ask you for your support. The Take is nominated for the Signal Awards in the Best Daily Podcast category. And Al Jazeera's True Crime Reports is nominated for the Most Innovative Video Podcast and Best True Crime Podcast. So while we wait for the judges' decisions, you can help us right away win the listeners' votes. So the links for the voting are included in the episode's description, and we do thank you for that vote. Reporting from the heart of our story is Al Jazeera correspondent Tareq Abu Azzoum. We spoke with him while he was out in the field in Deir al-Balah, which is in central Gaza. Now, during our conversation, he was out in the street where we saw kids playing and waving at the camera. There were cars driving by, and the sea is glinting in the distance. It's an incredible picture where ordinary life is moving forward as the people in Gaza are waiting for a ceasefire announcement.
I'm Tareq Abu Azzoum, Al Jazeera English correspondent in Gaza. We are covering the Israeli ongoing genocide in the Strip and documenting all humanitarian, political and security developments across the whole territory.
So Tareq, look, the level of destruction in Gaza over the last 2 years has been historic, devastating, catastrophic. Words like this don't really come close to capturing it. And of course, I don't have to tell you this. You've lived it. But just a few top-line numbers for our listeners and viewers. 1 out of every 33 people in Gaza has been killed, though even those estimates might be low. Nearly 1 in 4 children is currently suffering from acute malnutrition, and nearly all the homes in Gaza have been damaged or destroyed. What the world has seen in Gaza these past 2 years has been heartbreaking beyond imagination. But because we have you here, I thought we would start by asking what the world is not seeing, what the reporting and the pictures don't capture. Can you try to tackle that question to start us off?
Well, what viewers around the globe did not really see or even capture is the ongoing cumulative ripple effect of this ongoing genocide that has really and severely impacted on the psychological well-being of families and everyone inside this completely torn apart landscape. For our viewers abroad, they are completely concerned about the safety of the children, the civilian infrastructure, but we managed to capture the vast majority of developments here in Gaza, but they cannot see really the very heartbreaking and gut-wrenching details behind the cameras about how people are really coping on a daily basis and how they are really struggling to secure their own safety. For me, I have been reporting on the ground for more than 2 years, and I have been seeing very, very dramatic and heartbreaking stories for families who have been completely wiped out from the civil registries. They have nothing left in order to survive on. They don't have even relatives to report about what happened for them. Many of the Palestinians in Gaza have been going through an endless cycle of despair. We are talking about families who have been displaced more than 10 times since the war began. They were living in beautiful decorated houses. They had dreams before to accomplish, and now they found themselves completely stranded under the open sky and in overcrowded shelters. Some of the families we show really are living very close to the water once they were displaced, or from the towns and villages that have massively leveled to the ground by Israeli forces. So the bleak reality that viewers around the world do not really get is the psychological impact as well. And for them, survival now does not mean only surviving airstrikes, but also how they're gonna cope with the next hour in light of the very shifting landscape here in the Strip.
Just getting you on the line was quite a challenge. Can you tell us a bit about where you're standing and what's happening around you right now?
Well, I'm right now standing in Zawaida town. It's in the central part of Gaza. We're here, and behind me is Al-Rashid Coastal Road, where this is one of the main roads linking between northern and southern Gaza. We have been documenting the mass-scale displacement waves taking place from Gaza City to the south of the Strip. We know that the Israeli military operation has started in Gaza, and the Israeli military has been ordering families to move to the central and southern parts of Gaza, to areas that were designated as a safe humanitarian zone for families. But we show, and we were here documenting the reaction of people, how that journey sounds and how people are really trying to survive from airstrikes. We spoke to families on the way to the south of the Strip. We show trucks, cars, vans and donkey carts are quite overloaded, swaying with every dangerous turn. Some families told us they were given a very short period of time to flee from bombardment and to escape from the area that is about to be an active war zone. Some families told us that they were walking on foot from northern Gaza to the central area. We are talking about approximately 20 kilometers, were completely crossed on foot by elderly men, children. When I asked them about why you were not able to afford the cost of the transportation, the answer was really very shocking. They told me that they do not have the cost of the transportation. So we are here trying to chase stories, to hear the pain of people, the apply, to listen to their requests and demands, and even to capture their reactions with every single political and diplomatic development that might be unfolding as the ongoing negotiations are still taking place in Egypt and inside regional countries.
Your reporting has done such a great job personalizing this tragedy. With that in mind, I want to ask you about two families you recently interviewed. Each of them has a child who was born on October 7th, 2023.
While most newborns are greeted by lullabies, Sanad Zanian's first cries rose beneath the roar of warplanes.
These are children that have never known a day without bombs, a day without danger. Tell us about these children and what their lives can help tell us about these 2 years experienced in Gaza.
Those children, like so many others, have known nothing once they came to this life but only the sound of explosions, bullets and missiles raining down on buildings. They have spent the past 2 years suffering from malnutrition, moving from one area to another, seeking for refuge and safety. And for the parents, that was not an easy mission. One of the children that I had interviewed, his mother told me that his father was detained very shortly after the eruption of this genocide, and he even was deprived from his father. And the other child was lucky to have his father, but his father has been doing and fighting tooth and nail in order to bring him his own necessities. He told me that the only way for children to play is to play under the hum of Israeli drones, and his playground of his destroyed house has become his own sanctuary. They started even to know and to realize new concepts and notions about the new life here in Gaza, how their fathers and mothers are really lining up every single morning to bring them a few gallons of water and a pile of lentils, and how for them getting up out of a chocolate is a very severe challenge, while other children around the globe can go to any market or to any big malls in order to shop and buy what they like, what they once dreamed to have. But children in Gaza, their lives have been shaped by the constant bombardment, the sound of warplanes, the scenes of tents and rubble completely surrounding the Strip. So they have really come to a life that has been fraught by severe dangers and unthinkable circumstances. Their parents have been forced to navigate endlessly without any sort of respite.
So Tareq, far away from the daily horrors that you're describing, officials from many countries around the world are now deciding your fate.
The president wants to see a ceasefire. He wants to see the hostages released, and the technical teams are discussing that as we speak to ensure that the environment is perfect to release those hostages.
Over the last 2 years, we've talked through numerous ceasefire deals and proposals, none of which ultimately stuck. Does this one feel different at all to you? How are people in Gaza feeling right now about the prospects of this ceasefire succeeding where others have failed?
Well, as ceasefire negotiations are still ongoing, there is a hope here in Gaza, but this hope has been quite tempered by the hard experiences people in Gaza really have witnessed before. People believe that after 2 years of devastation, displacement and broken promises, they started to read the politics behind the promises. They believe that this round of negotiations is not just about ending the war, it's about more politics, power and pressure. And their key demand is a ceasefire that can bring a lasting peace, can afford a full cessation for hostilities and fighting, and to ensure the Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, along with the full reconstruction of the civilian infrastructure, including hospitals, schools, universities, entertainment cities and parks. So people want to get some sense of normal life again. They want to restore what has been completely stolen from them under the pretext of security. So that has been the main demands heard from families on the ground. But seriously, there has been an undeniable fear written on the faces of everyone in Gaza regarding the failure of this round of negotiations. For them, they are quite concerned that this round of diplomatic talks might collapse like a house of cards.
One of the major sticking points, at least in my opinion, about this round of ceasefire talks is what role, if any, Hamas will play in a future agreement. What's your read on things? Even if Hamas does disarm or relinquish power, Hamas doesn't go away. Are these demands realistic in your view?
Well, generally, Israel has been demanding Hamas to completely be removed from the power, and it has been one of the key elements in the current ceasefire proposal that was initiated by the US President Donald Trump. Now, there is a genuine pressure made by the US mediators and trying to convince Hamas to be removed from power. But the question lies in terms of the mechanism, how this could be practically translated on the ground if there is no alternative security force to maintain the internal security here in Gaza. This step, if it's not being afforded, it will trigger some sort of political and security vacuum in Gaza. And we saw earlier how Israel was mobilizing further gangs, militias to replace Hamas. So the replacement of Hamas, or the removal of Hamas, must be at least under the supervision of regional mediators and regional powers to ensure that there is a trustworthy, transparent, credible political and military entity that will absolutely run the strip, manage all administrative and logistical issues, and on top of that, maintain the dignity of Palestinians and make sure that people will not witness further humiliation if there will be some sort of security vacuum. We have heard things now are changing, the dynamics are changing, and we are still waiting for the outcomes of negotiations and to see whether practically Hamas could be completely replaced from Gaza or not, and how mediators can ensure this step without even leading to a path that can generally shape the collapse of the ceasefire talks, because as we know, there are no concrete guarantees yet being provided for Palestinians about the resumption of war and even the Israeli withdrawal from Gaza.
More with Tareq after the break.
Esmond Bradley Martin, one of the world's leading investigators of the illegal poaching trade, was murdered in his own home in Nairobi, Kenya in 2018. To this day, nobody knows who killed Esmond or why. Was it because of his work, or was it a different reason altogether? Hear from Esmond's friends and colleagues in True Crime Reports.
Tareq, a grisly byproduct of the genocide that's being inflicted on the people of Gaza is that it has drastically raised the salience of the Palestinian issue globally. The cause of Palestinian human rights can no longer be ignored. I wonder what it's been like for you over these last 2 years to experience this massive shift. I mean, there must be a part of you that's thinking, what took you so long?
Well, generally, not just me, but everyone in Gaza is following the international outrage about Israel's genocide in the Strip. We can see how this genocide has created a huge shift in awareness and even in attitudes of the international powers and the international community. We show, and people on the ground are really appreciating and saluting every protest that was organized outside Gaza to raise awareness and to demand for the Palestinian independence and the Palestinian rights. People say on the ground that international community has been actively supporting Palestinians who have been killed in Gaza, given the unprecedented live stream genocide with its catastrophic figures and proportions. So people started abroad to completely realize the truth in Gaza and how it was completely brainwashed in terms of the Israeli propaganda that we have heard from people, that this is a huge revolution in terms of the cognitive campaign and how it will absolutely help to trigger further actions by the international community. And people, even in the past a few days, were following the global Samud flotilla and how those brave activists, human beings, have been really risking their lives just to approach Gaza's coast and to show a message of solidarity. And I have heard, even from people right now around me, they believe that the international community, especially people from the UK, the US, Spain, and different countries, have been really risking their jobs, their lives, their rights, even by protesting around the globe, raising the Palestinian flag, raising slogans showing a massive support for Palestinians. And I have seen in their eyes huge resilience, huge courage to come to give a hand and what their humanity tells them really to do. And this has been massively and deeply appreciated by everyone here.
Wow. Well, we don't for 1 second forget the contribution that you and others are making in Gaza. If not for you, we just wouldn't have the insight. We wouldn't know all of these facts. So please give everyone there our well wishes. You see these images of Gaza City and the place has been destroyed, right? Hardly a structure has survived untouched. But Gaza is more than just a collection of buildings. This is a place that dates back to the Bronze Age, right? And it's been sacked and restored many, many times throughout the centuries. Israel may have managed to destroy Gaza's infrastructure, but in your opinion, has it destroyed Gaza as an idea? Will Gaza endure?
Well, Israel, since day one of this genocide, has put a clear target to turn Gaza City into a barren landscape that will be completely defined by devastation and trouble that has become a very significant part of the landscape right now. So it's not more about the pretext of security, it's more about the eradication of the community, the dismantling of every single fabric of the Palestinian society. And that was quite represented by the mass displacement, the destruction of cultural, economic, and even social landscape in Gaza. And basically, one of the main milestone of this ongoing resilience that Palestinians have been showing is their level of commitment to their land, how they are clingy to their communities. And we show this by the presence of thousands of Palestinians right now in Gaza City as the ground military operation is continuing. And for the record, we have been even documenting the return of families once the ceasefire was broken back in January 2025. We show how people were quite happy. They understand completely that their houses have been wiped out, their businesses have been destroyed, but they are clinging to the concept of homeland. They say that we will rebuild what Israel has destroyed. So the sentiment of resilience, the sentiment of determination we show in the eyes and in the hearts and actions of Palestinians have been completely immeasurable. And that's why it's very hard for Israel to eradicate the Gaza Strip as an idea and as a homeland for generations.
Okay. Tareq, thank you very much for your reporting. Thank you very much for coming on The Take today.
Thank you.